Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's intraday analysis video, brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. My name is Gareth Soloway. Let's get into the action today on this Tuesday, September 30th, 2014. Markets are hitting the lows of the day, as you can see here on the SPY intraday 10-minute chart. And again, we saw the markets initially sell off, then bounce back, hitting the double top from Friday's highs, and then reversing back down and heading actually towards the lows from yesterday as well as Thursday. And this is going to be interesting to see because, in my opinion, the market should stay range bound between this high here and this low, because we're waiting on the ECB announcement on how much quantitative easing they're going to put into effect, as well as the jobs number on Friday. But again, it's possible the markets break one way or the other. I just don't think it's very likely, but anything is possible. We have to react to what the market gives us. Okay. So bottom line is, markets continue to gyrate between the lows and the highs here over the last few days. Interesting couple tidbits of important things today. Number one, you have to look at the commodity collapse. Take a look at oil today, guys. This is an epic drop on oil. Oil's been kind of grinding higher for multiple days, and today, just like that, it was wiped out. All right, absolutely wiped out. And again, look at what we've done here. We've almost negated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading days up on oil in one down move. All right, now again, spot crude is basically on the closing bell here, and that'll probably keep oil in this sideways action. But I mean, I'll tell you right now, that is one heck of a drop. And what that actually did was hammered the markets down, because a lot of big oil companies took a hit. For instance, Chevron, Exxon, as well as other ones, dropped precipitously when oil dropped. Take a look at Chevron here. All right, right here, here's your drop on Chevron. It's basically at the lows of the day right now. If we bring up Exxon, all right, Exxon, same thing. There's where oil fell, and you can see on the Exxon chart it fell with it. So that, again, being big components of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, really took a major shot at the markets and dragged them down. Now, having said that, we've seen some pretty other wild moves out there. For instance, the dollar has continued to stay up. Even though it's falling off the highs of the day, it's still green on the day, and the dollar has just not wanted to give up. This has been amazing. If you look at the UUP, take a look at this move. First of all, literally no pullbacks. You had a pause here, and that's really it. And maybe another pause right here. But what I want to show you here is zooming out. Here's where you want to start paying attention to it. All right, and again, could the dollar push through there? Of course, there's always a chance, but I'd be floored if you get through this area here without some sort of at least small pullback. All right, and I think what's interesting is that this up move in the dollar is leading up to the announcement by the ECB, the European Central Bank, and essentially we're all expecting the ECB to put in some huge quantitative easing policy, much like the Federal Reserve did. And what I think is interesting about that is the markets are factoring that in. So if anything different happens, the dollar could come down very quickly for a few days, as it's kind of a readjustment to expectations. Okay? So again, really interesting action there on the dollar. And if we look at the euro, I mean, the euro just continues to get pounded. Look at the daily euro chart. And this is the FXE that tracks the euro. You can see here you've bounced off of the lows pretty nicely, like the dollar has pulled off the highs. But I mean, holy cow, I mean, this thing just has not stopped falling. Look at where it was, 137, and we're now at 124. That's about basically a 12.5 point move on the FXE. And we're talking about a currency here, and that's since really May highs, June highs. I mean, so again, that's over 10% drop on the FXE in that period of time. Very, very unusual to see that. Right, it's not unusual for a currency to go up or down. It's unusual to see such a big move on a currency, especially a stable one like the euro, the dollar, the pound, in such a short amount of time. Okay, so that's, again, causing some major hiccups out there. We've seen silver sell off tremendously, although it's bounced sizably off the low. I mean, silver has really had a big bounce, but look at the intraday here, guys. I mean, look at that fall on silver, just an epic collapse. And this is another interesting thing, because if you look at the silver chart, look at this. I mean, just going back to July, mid-July, Silver was at $20.50. It's now at $16.40. That's a $4 drop on the ETF that tracks silver. Think about percentage-wise what that is. That's basically 20% drop. And that's in just a few months. That is wild. Absolutely wild. Gold today, let's take a look at the GLD. Gold's down a little bit. To be honest, it's not down that much. So I think some fear money is going into gold to kind of offset this. But silver and other commodities are not seeing that same type of action. Now, one thing I want to bring up to your attention, and I think this is worthwhile, is an options idea. And it comes to you from corn. All right, so if we look at corn, let's take a look at the ETF on corn here. All right, it's basically down 25 cents on the day, a little bit of a drop, 1%. But notice how it's just had such a big drop on the daily chart. What gets my attention is the January 25 calls, okay, at a strike of 25. So the strike is $25. And these are the January 2015s. Now, what's so shocking about this is that some big player out there was accumulating a huge position. So on a normal day, these options trade like 100 contracts a day, maybe 200, maybe 300. Guess what the options volume is today? 24,000. That's 1,000, folks. That gets my attention. And I told my chat room about it, and I've noted it per the Rant and Rave blog. But who knows what that means? To me, it means, if I just interpret it based on what I would think a big institution is saying, hey, listen, corn is going to bottom here in reverse and have a big move up to the point where by January I've doubled my money minimally, maybe even tripled. I don't think an institution gets in that many contracts for a move of, 10, 15, 25, even 50%. They're looking for the big score there. So I could see this contract maybe going back minimally to $1 from 50 cents where it currently is, and I think it could even go even further. I would not be surprised to see this back to $1.50 before January expiration. And that's the value of the option, so think about how far it has to go up just to get there. I would think minimally a bounce back to 25 gets them at least a double if it's in the next month or two. But man, oh man, that is wild stuff, guys. Okay, so just some tidbits there I wanted to pass along to you. Let's go back to the SPY here. And there are a couple other stocks that I want to pass along to you. Yesterday, we talked about potentially a top on GoPro. And this is the spiders chart again. You can see we're bouncing a little bit off here, minor support. But that obviously wasn't the top. It looks like it's in the process of making a top on GoPro. But honestly, it's so hard to guess on this. Here you can see a gap up. You had a little topping tail here and a huge flush. And then we basically made inside bar consolidation the whole way the rest of the day. And, the stock is doing huge volume again today, 22.5 million with still 2+ hours to go in the trading day. And it, definitely will do more volume than yesterday. But really interesting stuff here, guys. This is unbelievable price action on GoPro, I have to say. Really unbelievable. So we'll watch and see how that trades out, but is it able to fight up to the highs of the day by the end of the day and just do a move like yesterday? Because yesterday had a little bit of a pullback here and then rallied to new highs. Today was a bigger pullback, obviously. So the question is, can it still do that? If it does, then it probably goes over 100 in the coming days. If it doesn't and kind of does not make a new high by the close, you might actually have a top. And this is, again, just more guesswork than anything. As again, GoPro has been one of the most amazing movers I've seen in recent history for a market cap of 10 billion or more. It's easy to get a $50 million market cap micro cap to move, hundreds of percentage points. But when you see a billion, multi-billion dollar company do it, that's impressive. So we'll see again where that ultimately trades out here into the close. And, I'm going to pass along now, guys, and move on. But bottom line is, come join us here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. Awesome trades. I've already put out new trade alerts today, as did my partner. New options ideas coming out left and right as we get ready to launch our new options service. And come take the 7-day free trial here to InTheMoneyStocks.com. Take care.